Welcome to aricherwalk.com, where we apply the scriptures to the important issues of our time. This is the first of a series of Bible lessons on the subject of government. The purpose of government is actually given in the Bible. The relation of the Christian and the non-Christian to government is also described there. This multi-part series on government will give you the tools you need to understand the world we live in and how to live as a Christian in what is a very political world. We have three topics for today. Number one, God is the source of all human authority. Number two, God is the source of government. And number three, government is for everybody. In Romans chapter 13, verse 1, it says, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but God. The powers that be are ordained of God." God is the source of legitimate human authority. God is the origin of every category of legitimate human authority. Now, authority is legal power. This power is legal because it is granted or delegated by a legitimate power, in this case, God Himself. The Bible teaches that the source of any power or authority is ultimately God. Psalm 62:11 says, "God has spoken once. Twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God." I will need to get a little ahead of myself in order to clear up some misunderstandings which might occur right here. I am not saying that everyone who exercises power is a good or righteous person. Nor am I saying that power is not usurped by evil individuals. I am saying that God has devised institutions with authorized power structures within them. Those operating within these structures are allowed there by God, regardless of their spiritual disposition. There are examples of stepping outside of divinely authorized authority structures to obtain power. Perhaps the most famous example is that of the devil. The sin of Lucifer was in establishing himself as an unauthorized authority. Isaiah 14:14 records the thoughts of Lucifer when it says, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." The best known attempt among human beings occurred in the Garden of Eden, where Eve accepted an offer of unauthorized authority from the serpent. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 4 and 5, it says, "And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil." So here we can see that Eve fell for the same offer of unauthorized authority that tempted Lucifer himself. And Adam also departed from his authorized role as the head of the marriage to participate in the rebellion against God. God established the institution of government and the authority of it as a part of the mandate given mankind to rule the earth. In this fallen world, the only persons who can wield the power of government are sinful people, because there are no other choices. Romans 13:1 says, "The powers that be are ordained by God." God has established a number of human institutions, and within each is a system of authority. The purpose of the authority within each institution is to protect our freedom to operate within the institution. God created the individual soul, and the authority within the human soul is the volition. Our free will, which is, or should be, the commander of the life, protecting the soul's freedom to make decisions from a position of strength rather than weakness. He created marriage, within which He made the man the authority in the relationship, the guardian of the woman's freedom, her physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual freedom. He created the family, in which the parents are the authority, the protectors of their children's freedom to grow into maturity. And God created government as the sentinel of the freedom of nations by preserving order through the restraint and control of evil. In this way, we can all pursue our lives free from coercion and violence. It is the devil that has claimed that the exercise of authority is a limitation upon freedom. The fall of mankind has fulfilled that false claim by changing the character of human authority from one of protection to one of control. Our last point is government is for everybody. Despite the frightening use to which government will be used, and to which, quite frankly, is being used today in our time, government is an institution created by God. God has granted authority to government. Therefore, he commands that every soul be subject to the powers that be. And that means every soul. It means that government is for everybody. It's for the saved and the unsaved, the rich and the poor, the black and the white, everybody. Government, and this is important, is a secular institution. It's like marriage and family. There is a Christian institution of marriage which is for believers, but you do not have to be a believer in Christ to get married. You do not have to be a Christian in order to have and enjoy family life. Government is a secular institution because government pertains to every living soul. This means that it's okay for unsaved people to be rulers. God assigns both the saved and the unsaved as rulers. In fact, when any person is in a place of governmental authority, it is because God has allowed him to be there. That word appointed or ordained in our passage means to assign someone to a particular task, function, or role, to appoint, to designate, to assign, to give a task to. God ordains leadership for a variety of purposes. It is the means by which God controls human history, or at least a means. One biblical example of this is found in the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. The night that Babylon was overthrown by the Persians, the night that the mysterious hand wrote upon the wall of the Babylonian palace, Daniel gave this sermon to Belshazzar, the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar. And this occurs in Daniel chapter 5, beginning in verse 18, where it says, "O king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar your father a kingdom and majesty, glory and honor. And because of the majesty that he gave him, all peoples, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whomever he wished, he executed. Whomever he wished, he kept alive. Whomever he wished, he set up. And whomever he wished, he put down. But when his heart was lifted up, and his spirit was hardened in pride, he was deposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. Then he was driven from the sons of men, his heart was made like the beasts, and his dwelling was with the wild donkeys. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God rules in the kingdom of men and appoints over it whomever he chooses." That's Daniel chapter 5, verses 18 through 21. God places leadership into place in government for both blessing and cursing of nations. Israel received kings who led them to honor God and those which led the nation into divine judgment. Although God's purposes in elevating a person to leadership are often inscrutable to us, they are related to the obedience or disobedience of the nation with respect to divine laws. You do not have to be saved to be a general in the army or an admiral in the Navy. You do not have to be a Christian to be a fireman or a policeman, a senator, or a president. Now, I think it would be great for the nation if more people in government were truly saved. But they won't be saved because Christians are more concerned about getting the vote out than they are about getting the gospel out. If we want a better government, we're going to have to be better Christians than we are politicians. This concludes part 1 of our multi-part study of the concept of government in the Bible. Please listen to future episodes at aricherwalk.com. I'm Rich Walker.